This is the Cubs POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Chicago Cubs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It does not erase what has been happening for the Cubs, but for today, it feels excellent as the Cubs sweep the doubleheader against the Milwaukee Brewers. They win this game 4-1. An impressive victory all around for the Cubs. From Jameson Taillon to Owen Caissie and Matt Shaw, Willi Castro, the bullpen, all of it. Great game for the Cubs as they get the victory over the Milwaukee Brewers. Joe George here with you after every single Cubs game, live with you for 15 to 20 minutes. You can find me on all social media platforms at Joe George Radio. Look, there is so much to go through, so many good things in this game, honestly. This is one of the best wins we've seen from the Cubs in a long time. This was a complete game. We saw them moving guys from spot to spot on the field. We saw good pitching performances. We saw great defensive plays. They checked all the boxes in this game. And normally I'd start with Jameson Taillon here, and we'll get to him. But not just Owen Caissie today, what he meant to the Cubs. Shout out to Willi Castro. A 3-run home run in the first game of this in the first game of this doubleheader. That guy threw a rope in this game. That throw was awesome. I hated the decision for Owen Caissie to come up for Justin Turner. Brief mention of that. It doesn't matter in the long-term things because the Cubs won. But that was an incredible throw by Castro to get the runner at the plate. So kudos to him for that one. And Jameson Taillon. It was everything you could have asked for after the first 2 innings. Gives up the run in the first, has a ton of pitches in the first 2 innings. I mean, I'm looking at the way this game is going. There's 100 pitches thrown between both guys, between Taillon and Woodruff in the first 2 innings. This thing looks like it's going to have to come down to a bullpen game, something that the Cubs, after a doubleheader, are not in position to do. I did not want to see the guys that were being tweeted about by the Cubs who were coming up and going down and all these different things, 27th man on the roster. So for him to bounce back with the performance that he did, to really rein in what was happening, and that after all the pitches through the second inning, he retired 10 straight guys. So he goes struggle, and then is just perfect, basically, for the next 10 batters. So really gutsy and great performance from Jameson Taillon. Coming off the injured list, you could not have asked for more from him in this doubleheader situation. In a series now in which Cade Horton had to leave because of a blister, thinks he'll make his next start. Matthew Boyd, up and down performance in the first game, definitely had to battle through that one. And it looked like Taillon was going to have to battle through again, potentially giving up runs to a Brewers team that's obviously awesome. There's no denying that. But Taillon did a great job in this game. And while he was awesome, you can't say enough about Owen Caissie. I mean, this kid, to have the performance that he did in this doubleheader in really the last 3 days, to get his first big league hit yesterday, his first big league home run this afternoon. But that at bat today, I think, is more impressive than the opposite field home run. 8 pitches, 4 foul balls, and then he finds a way to get the single and bring in the first run of the games for the Cubs. I mean, that was an impressive performance for him, because you don't expect a rookie to go up there and have those kind of at-bats, and he was able to do that. So without Owen Caissie, look, I feel comfortable saying that without Owen Caissie today, the Cubs don't win either of these games. Just the way the vibe has been going with Kyle Tucker, to have him out there. And again, we'll wait and see. We talked about this a lot on the first show today. It's nice doing 2 of these today. It's kind of fun. But to see him, battle through the way he did. And again, we don't know how long it will be for Kyle Tucker to return to this lineup as they give him some rest to figure out everything that, to get him going again. Just a great performance for Owen Caissie. Let's see. OK says here in the chat, I apologize to Castro. He was great today. Yeah, it's deserved for today, for sure. Summit Seeker says, remember when everyone hated the Castro trade? Yeah, I don't think those people are totally gone yet. But just like, look, the moves the Cubs made today or at the deadline, like, they kind of pay off here. Willi Castro, really good. Rogers, good. Kittredge, good. He's pitched, I think, 9 times, they said, since he became a member of the Cubs, besides one performance He's been nails. Again, the pitching hasn't been the problem over this stretch of baseball for the Cubs, but they got really good bullpen performances from him. One guy to shout out here, too, is a guy that I was pretty much out on at this point, where I was pretty comfortable with never seeing Ryan Brazier pitch for the Cubs again. But he went out there and he did his job in this game as well. So going back to Palencia and Keller in the first game, to everyone that pitched in the second game, the bullpen was nails today. It really shut the door on the Brewers, and a team that's had multiple comeback wins recently put the pressure on the Cubs in the first game of the doubleheader, and they were able to come through. So kudos to the pitching staff. Well-deserved victory for them. And again, it's good to see the Cubs lineup coming through. And it's the young guys. It's the younger guys on this team that are really sparking the Cubs, it feels like right now. Owen Caissie, again, an RBI single in this one. But Matt Shaw, that play today, the triple, that guy's got some wheels. You got some Wrigley Field bounce there for sure. That helps. But to slide in head first, get there at third was a great play. And then the ground ball from Michael Busch to first base throws a little high, but Matt Shaw and his speed, he puts on the afterburners and he gets home. Like, that is a straight hustle run from Matt Shaw. So he continues to play great defense and hit the ball very well. So look, these young guys, everyone wanted Tucker to be benched, and more Ian Happ, I think, but he's been fine actually as of late. But it's been the idea behind from the fans, and we can't always be right. But for 2 games, we all feel right that the Cubs needed a spark. They needed someone to come up to this roster and impact the mojo. And that's what it feels like Owen Caissie has done these last 3 days for the Cubs, specifically, obviously, today. So we'll react to more of your comments, your questions. We'll get to all of it here. And I'm gonna walk back something I said the last 3 shows about how many games you want the Cubs to win in this series. Because now that they lead this series 2-1 of a 5-game series, the expectation isn't to win 2 anymore. It's to win this thing and really get this thing rolling again. All right, we'll take our break here. We'll talk about what we saw from Nico Hoerner and other guys in the lineup today. We'll get to as many of your questions and comments that we can here on YouTube. That's all coming up next year on the Locked On Cubs postcast on the Locked On Cubs YouTube channel.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
This episode is also brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in on the game. The flex play option is a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you still double up your money. I've got a flex lineup going right now, and I hit 2 of the first 3, and they also give you some gifts here. Avery Johnson, the more or less for his passing yards in his game this college football weekend as week 0 gets underway is a half a yard. So unless he's Aaron Rodgers like a couple years ago, that more is going to be a factor for sure. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, Nico Hoerner in this game. Can't be said enough about him either. Always, honestly. He's been so clutch for the Cubs. He's one of my favorite players, honestly, ever. I got the baby blue jersey this year, the new one that they have, and I went with Nico because I just have always loved Cubs second baseman, and he's honestly at the top of that list right now. He comes through when you need him to, and it starts off in this one in the bottom of the second inning. He gets a walk and a stolen base. So the Cubs are on the move. They're moving guys again. They finally have started to do this recently, and it hasn't always resulted in wins or good things like when PCA slid off the bag, but They're moving guys again from first to second when they have the chance. PCA got thrown out in the first game today. Contreras is obviously very good behind the plate, but Nico is safe there. And then you have Owen Caissie. That's when he gets his RBI. And Michael Busch, a double down the line, and Owen Caissie scores, and the Cubs get their first 2 runs of the game. And then again, in the bottom of the 5th, Ian Happ single, Carson Kelly single. So it's first and second with 2 outs. And here comes Nico Hoerner with an RBI single to make it 3-1 Cubs. So Nico as well today deserves kudos for the way he performed, as you feel confident in him to do on a pretty regular basis. Very quickly here, after the Nico thing, RBI single, this is where Owen Caissie comes out of the game for Justin Turner. I'm not too surprised based on what we've seen from Craig Counsell. This feels like a analytics thing of Caissie versus a lefty. I get it. I don't love it. I understand why they did it. I don't agree with it. I think the way he's been playing, I would have let him go out there. But again, it pays off for the Cubs in the end because with Willi Castro in right field, he throws a rocket to home to get a Brewer out just a little bit later. So it worked. It worked out for them pretty well, even though I did not agree with it. Twig Woodman says this is Nico's team. Nico he's the heart of the team. I don't think there's any doubting of that for him because this team is just he comes through more often than anyone else on the Cubs. More than Tucker, more than Suzuki has, more than PCA has this year. Like you feel confident when he comes up to the plate, and when you need runs to come in, when guys are on base, you feel more confident with Nico over anyone else at this point coming to the plate. So he's someone that they gotta pull that trigger and get him a new contract as soon as possible as well. Chat says Tucker will be back. Yeah, Tucker will be back. We'll see how long it takes. I'm curious to see what the move is again for the Cubs. Just how long this thing lasts for them, but we'll see. Seabass says here Owen Caissie should have been called up in June. Yeah, I think we all would have liked him to be in there sooner. Totally agree with Rachel here in the chat as well. If Craig puts in Tucker tomorrow, I will be upset. I think Tucker should sit this entire series, and I don't think there would be anything wrong with not having Kyle Tucker back into the lineup until after their off day on Monday and putting him back out there on Tuesday, just to help him get right. Whatever it takes, take some time, figure out what's going on. There's no reason to rush this. I mean, you might change your perspective. Let's say you win the next 2 days. Maybe you feel different, but if Owen Caissie's playing the way he is, you don't have to at this point. So the other thing about this game and I briefly mentioned there before we went to commercial, going into this series, going into tonight's game, I said it earlier today on the show, I was fine with winning 2 games in this series. Well, now you've done it. And now I'll be disappointed if the Cubs do not win this series. They should win this series now. You just got to go 1-1 over the next 2 days, and then you can get this thing back on the train tracks. It doesn't mean everything's fixed and solved and wash away what's happened recently. But this series, no one felt great about it, and rightfully so. And now you've swept a doubleheader. You're in control to win this series against the Milwaukee Brewers, and you can really just start to get this thing going in a better direction. Mike says here, Joe, the Cubs are a more talented team. We've got the better players. We just got to play as a team. I totally agree with that, honestly. The Cubs do have the better players, but they've just been all slumping for quite a while, and maybe this is the spark, because I think Ian Happ is look, as much as I want to disagree with Craig Counsell and putting him higher in the lineup, he's played better too of late. You're seeing signs from Happ, from PCA, of playing better baseball. Michael Busch too. The signs are there. Suzuki, it's okay. 2 walks in the first game today. It's not as strong as the other ones that we just mentioned, and Kyle Tucker's far behind, but there's signs of a pulse, I think is the best way to put it. There's a heartbeat for the Cubs to just get this thing back going in the right direction. Now, the question is can they capitalize? Can they really get this thing going in the right direction and really separate themselves in the wild card race, which is super close right now between the Cubs to the Reds and everything in between? And if you have hopes and aspirations, if you if the Cubs think there's a chance to chase down the Brewers this year, which will be challenging to say the least, like if it was going to happen, this is the series where it has to start going the Cubs' direction. And that probably starts with winning the next 2 games, honestly, not just the next one. Summit also said you bench Tucker and the team starts winning. Must be a coincidence. Look, he needed the time off. I don't think it's any doubt. I think, frankly, it's why did it take so long, like Eric says, for let Tucker reset? Like why did the Cubs wait so long for this thing for it to play out? If you missed it this morning, if you're not a radio listener, the Brewers manager was on the Score in Chicago, and he even said he thought Kyle Tucker is hurt right now, and I totally agree. Like it's whatever's going on with him, it's not look good. David says JMO shoves. We needed it, absolutely. I really don't know like where the Cubs would be at with without the length in this performance, because without what the limited off days you have coming up, it would have been really daunting for the Cubs bullpen that's already been used quite a bit, going into this game. For if Jameson Taillon was only able to get you 3 innings because that pitch count got out of control, it would have been a really challenging game for the Cubs to win. So, that's probably why he's the player of the game today. We didn't play the graphic, but Taillon's absolutely the player of the game today, because this Brewers team doesn't quit. They're, the way I said it earlier today was they're uncomfortable. They make you uncomfortable. Like the Cubs made other teams uncomfortable earlier this season. Just nothing feels safe at this point. Dan Wynn says, I'm very happy tonight, but if we lose tomorrow, we'll all be in here dooming again. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we get the vibe of the chat here on YouTube. It's a lot of doom and gloom, but it's deserved of recent. So for tonight, we can enjoy the fact that the Cubs won both these games, and now we can reset our expectations for this series as fans and say that the Cubs should absolutely win this series versus the Milwaukee Brewers. All you got to do is go 1-1 over the next 2 days. Hopefully, Owen Caissie continues to produce in the way he does. Fantastic 3-game stretch for him. Offensively, defensively, we've seen kind of it all from him, and the speed on the base pass as well. So all good stuff. All right, just a reminder, Matt and Sam will have their show coming up here in just a little bit as well here on the Locked on Cubs YouTube channel. So you can find that here, and their show 5 days a week. I'm here with you after every single Cubs game. So tons of Cubs content for you right here on the Locked on Cubs YouTube channel. So remember, hit that subscribe button. Also, wherever you get your podcasts, we love you guys for listening on Apple, Spotify, whether it's right after the game ends and as soon as the audio is up, or on your way to work, or whenever you listen. So thank you to everyone for hanging out with us here tonight. Go Cubs. Good victory. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow after hopefully another one. Have a good night. Peace.